Press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
I was really overwhelmed with what I saw. And I think we all know Amit ji's glorious achievements. And I think not just we can say that he's an encyclopedia of information about our industry, but also I think a brand ambassador of achievement with everything that he has achieved for decades. So I think a huge round of applause to everything Amit ji has achieved.
Let me just say here that actually the person who's made this, my association with Navketan started in 1969, and one of my first friendships in films was with Karan's dad, Yash Johar. And I have attended not only his wedding, but I remember going and seeing Karan when he was, I think, a 5 or 7 day old baby.
I do know.
And again, amongst the two of my oldest friends in Mumbai are Javed Saab and Mahesh, whom I met right in the beginning when Javed Saab is a couple of years senior to us, but otherwise we started. And Kabir goes back to college. He is a friend from college.
Great.
And I am younger even though I don't dye my hair.
And Sudhir represents the new generation of...
new generation, don't believe it. But, you know.
And please let us know your connection with Ronnie then. Because we are feeling a bit left
Ronnie
out.
also I have known from even before he entered the industry, when he was doing stage and he had just started his cable television business.
Well, that's wonderful. But I have to say, Amit ji, that not only whether it comes to achievement or it comes to being an encyclopedia, but also I think you need to be given an award for your patience. Because it takes a lot of patience to write something this thick.
You know,
and it's heavy, I'm sure, and it pun intended on heavy, because it's heavy not just in weight, but also in terms of knowledge, which is more important.
There's another book that size inside him. You should write another one, maybe.
So sorry. So before we go any further, I just want to actually speak to everyone very briefly about their experience and knowing Amit ji, and one memory that they probably have about him. I'm sure each one of you have spent hours in discussion, in conversation, and of course in deep thought with Amit ji. He's that kind of individual and man. So let's start with you, Sudhir. Like, how do you recall, when I say Amit Khanna, what comes to your mind?
I won't quote the person, but a wit once said that there are two opinions in this world. One is Amit, the other is wrong.
That's great. Thank you. That's great. Thank you.
But he's... I don't know. I mean, how do you describe him? When I first have maybe anything that I do wrong, he's the first one to call and say, "Kya kar rahe ho yaar?" And I've gone and I mean, you can talk to him so I've talked to him about marketing, but he once co-wrote a story of mine. So I told him a story and I wasn't being able to complete it. So I told him half the story at Prithvi Cafe and he completed it. So the credit says story Amit Khanna, right? So, I mean, and, in any other country, I think he would have been given a stature far bigger. Because everything that has happened in the media today, Amit predicted.
Visionary.
Everything.
Totally visionary.
Everything that has happened, the distribution of media, the channels, the niche audiences, where cinema will go, the OTT, digital, everything he had predicted. And I think you should, I mean, perhaps the government and everybody and the industry should use him far more than they have. Far, far more. I mean, you know, I mean, there's very few people with the kind of grace, not a kind of selflessness. I mean, he's not talking about his own company or you know, just the future of the whole place. And there are very few people with the kind of grace that he has of nurturing. I was just a young kid whom he just called, "Arey tune jaane vidya bhi likhi hai, ye bhi likhi hai, tu mere saath likh." And I think that Nazia and Zoeb Hassan's video there, that's the first job that I did. So we did the first music video in India.
That's
and that's because of him. Yeah, so then going into television, first with Mr. Sippy, and then Plus Channel, and just the whole, those 12 films, the slate of films that we call now, for instance, you know, I remember that big party where we all introduced on stage, and Mahesh Bhatt called it the mother of all parties and the mother of all, right? And we were 12 of us, and I don't think India has seen in the industry has seen a bigger introduction to a company or to a bigger introduction to a vision of films of all kinds. And that's another thing that Amit does very well, because it's, you know, that all films, it's possible to make good films in every, so he comes from a genre of popular cinema, and it's possible to make a great popular film, right? And it's possible to make a very niche. So from Mrinal Sen to Shyam Benegal to Karan Johar to Ramesh Sippy to Mahesh Bhatt, Javed Saab to Vijay Tendulkar, he knew them all, you know, and sort of that's the variety of cinema and people, and this flowering that he kind of encouraged, right? Which very few people have. Very few people have the nuance of language that he possesses, right? The facility with English, the vision of the world, yet an understanding of the local, never a disdain for the popular industry, but always an encouragement for the experimental, right? Very rare. I mean, big round of applause, you know.
Thank you.
My career has depended on grace of people like this, so I'm really...
Well, that's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Sudhir. Thank you. Mr. Bedi, like he said, you all are college friends. We won't ask you for deep, dark secrets from that time, but just probably share experiences or just your thoughts on being here today with him.
Well, you know, the thing is, this whole room is full of people that are here because in some way they've been touched by Amit, love Amit, worked with him, admire him, and wish him the best. Knowing him from college, there were some secrets I know which I won't reveal because that's not my habit. But I got to know Amit when we came to Bombay, and then when I worked with Devanand Saab in Ishq 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 and Bullet, he was Dev Saab's right-hand man. Anything that ever happened on the sets, on or off, Amit Khanna was behind it. And even when we were shooting at the Everest Valley in Nepal, and Thiang Bache, which is the last human settlement before the Everest climb begins, and the porters returned, but the helicopter didn't come to get us. It was Amit Khanna who intervened to make sure that we were rescued from that mountaintop. So, in a sense, a lot of people have a lot of reason to be very grateful to Amit. And he's, everything that you can say about him professionally, not everything, a lot was said in the film itself. But I remember, beyond all the things he's done in Bollywood as a songwriter, as a scriptwriter, as a filmmaker, as an organization builder, in the time that I was in Los Angeles, and I spent 25 years out of India, there was this talk of who is this Indian that is coming here and making these huge investments, and with Spielberg no less, and with DreamWorks no less. It caused waves. I think, I don't remember whether it was Variety or Hollywood Reporter that called him the most important Indian in Hollywood. And he was a huge influencer. And he led to some very major deals. But, you know, a lot of people are waiting to say a lot of things, so I won't stretch this. But I'll just say that through the years, for all that he's achieved, for all that he's done, he has remained a great human being and above all, a wonderful friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bedi.